everybody, to the Superhumanistic Podcast, where we talk about all things health, wellness, and longevity. Thank you for joining us today. We are your hosts. I'm David.
I'm Jessica.
Make sure that you hit that follow button on this podcast so you never miss another episode. We put out one episode a week on Saturdays. Also, check us out on YouTube and Instagram for additional health and wellness content. So last week, we talked about the vagus nerve. So if you want to learn more about how to activate that vagus nerve and all the benefits that come along with it, such as activating it through cold showers or maybe a cold plunge or something like that, go back and listen to last week's episode for all that information. This week, we're going to be talking about how there's really an indoor epidemic happening. We're not getting outside as much as we should, and that could be the ultimate brain hack. The average American, according to a recent Vice article, spends about 93% of their time inside. So that's inside their homes, inside their cars, inside their offices.
Which actually then means we only spend 7% of our lives outside.
That's pretty wild, considering that human biology evolved in outdoors over the last hundreds of thousands of years.
So today we're going to get into 3 questions. The first question is, why are we spending so much time indoors? Our second question is, what does it do to our brains and our bodies? And then finally, what are some simple ways that we can rebalance our lives?
Yeah, I mean, this is really linked to a phenomenon described as digital obesity, basically.
That totally makes sense. So not obesity in the traditional sense, but our brain's alert system constantly overfed by screens, notifications, artificial light, and that constant stream of information.
Yeah, think about our modern days. I know my day is pretty much laid out like this as well, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there experience this. You wake up and you check your phone is one of the first things you do. Definitely don't recommend that. Always better to give yourself some time to wake up first. You then work on a computer. You then sit in meetings all day. You drive home, and then you sit on the couch watching Netflix.
Right. Literally all activities that are happening indoors all day long. The things that our nervous system evolved actually rely on in order for our nervous system to re-evolve. Wow. I can do this. I promise, guys. We have to rely on that sunlight, the distance vision, movement throughout our day, and darkness at night. That's how our system can become better, and we get that reset, and we just feel better in general. So those things barely show up anymore.
Yeah, I know I've been making an effort to get more sun into my eyes, onto my head each morning not right after I first wake up, but within the first couple hours on that drive to work. I'll make sure I'm getting some sun shining in through the window, take off my sunglasses, so those type of things can help, because doctors are really starting to connect this excessive indoor living with a lot of modern symptoms and health conditions that are, people are reporting that they're feeling tired yet wired. And that was me last night. I didn't get much sleep the night before because we were out late for a concert. Then I had to work early in the morning. So even though I should have been tired last night earlier, it still felt wired. So that's one of these symptoms that can arise. Also anxious and unfocused, foggy during the day, and then awake late at night, as I just touched on as well.
Yeah, so clinically, these symptoms or patterns show up as disrupted sleep cycles. We have higher evening stress hormones, lower heart rate variability, and then shallow sleep, and then fatigue.
Basically what's happening here is the nervous system never really gets a chance to fully reset.
Right. So there's another problem. Indoor air quality. I was just saying this today to my husband. I'm like, it looks like there's smoke in our house. No smoke going on in our house. No candles were lit. We weren't cooking. It just literally looked to me as if there was like smoke in the room. So that air quality is actually being impacted when we're inside. So studies show that indoor air can actually contain 2 to 5 times more pollutants than outdoor air because contaminants build up in those enclosed spaces.
So yeah, if we're spending almost all our time indoors, that's the air that we're breathing in. So I know for us, we're trying to add more plants to the mix so that can help clean our air for us.
Yeah. And it affects everything, right? We get our energy, our focus, our mood, even our respiratory health that comes from being able to just simply be outdoors.
Our human brains were absolutely built for the outdoors. So one of the most fascinating points that researchers touched on here was about that distance vision.
Yeah, looking at screens all day. I know in my job, I'm constantly looking at screens. Our eyes are locked into that short range focus. But when you're outside, we have that chance to look around when we look at trees or the horizon, the sky, different plants. So our eyes, our visual system is getting that opportunity to relax.
Yeah, that simple shift alone can really give your brain that break that it needs from that constant cognitive load.
Nature also naturally regulates our circadian rhythm. So morning sunlight tells our body, hey, it's time to wake up, right? We're going to be alert right now. Where that darkness at night tells our brain to produce some melatonin and get sleep.
Yeah, when it comes to that indoor lighting, it just really cannot replicate that cycle very well.
All right, so the minimum effect dose of nature. So what's the minimum effect that we need? Well, here's the good news. You don't have to go live in a cabin within the woods.
Yeah, I mean, experts really just suggest aiming for about 100 minutes outdoors per day, which equals roughly 7% of your time.
So that might sound like a lot, but 100 minutes, it actually does add up quickly. If you are doing a 10-minute walk in the morning and then get another 10-minute walk on the way into work, so parking further away from the entrance, maybe another 10 minutes on your way out from work, another 10-15-minute walk when you get home from work. 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, it adds up quickly.
All right, so let's jump into some practical tips and ways that you can get more outdoor time and alleviate a lot of these stressors and issues that are coming up as doctors are explaining. So really it's kind of, again, getting that morning sunlight within the first hour or two of waking up. So really even just 5 to 10 minutes can help reset that circadian rhythm.
Try to have, for number 2, walking meetings. Instead of sitting in a conference room for a meeting or on Zoom, take calls while walking outside. Movement plus the sunlight is actually a very powerful combination.
Yeah, another thing that you can do is really just have an outside break rule. So anytime that you get a break at work, instead of sitting there on your phone, scrolling as most people usually do, go for a short walk outside because 5 minutes of even walking really beats the 5 minutes of doom scrolling.
Yeah, and then taking the distance vision reset. So every few hours, step outside and then look far away. So if you're going for one of your walks outside, at break time, or maybe you took your lunch outside, every few hours, we want to make sure that we're getting outside and looking far away. Look at trees, look at distant buildings, look at the horizon. This will give our eyes that reset from the close-up work that we've done throughout our day.
Another tip that you can utilize is just have that social time outdoors. So anytime you're sipping on the cup of coffee there, maybe chatting with a friend at work, you can take that outside. Or maybe you're going to have dinner, you can move that out to the patio depending on where you live and what season of the year it is. Walks with friends. So maybe you do want to go for that walk. See if maybe there's a friend in the neighborhood that you've made that you can go for a walk with, because then you're kind of combining that social connection with that better environment.
Yeah, so sometimes most powerful health interventions are actually the simplest.
Sunlight, fresh air, and movement. Pretty simple.
Things humans had automatically for most of our history.
But with these days, the way our lives are designed, you're going to have to really be intentional and design those really back into your day and also into your life.
So here's our challenge for this week. Find time, or ask yourself first, where is there a 10-minute time that I can fit in to be able to go outside throughout my day?
All right. Yeah, that's just, if you do that even consistently, you're going to be surprised at how much more clear, calmer, and more energized your mind becomes. So that is what we had for you today. Thank you for joining Superhumanistic. Make sure that you follow us on this podcast, on YouTube, and on Instagram. And also share this podcast with someone that you love who is also on a health and wellness journey if you benefited from this episode. Go out there and be more superhumanistic. We'll see you next time.
Bye.